Obviously, as y'all mentioned, Baylor's Big 12 opener does come at Colorado. The Buffaloes, one of four new Big 12 teams. Of course, they used to be in the Big 12. Um, so to me, this shapes up as a pretty interesting toss-up kind of game. I feel like the betting line reflects that. I think Baylor was a 1.5 point favorite to start, and then I looked again yesterday, and Colorado was a 1.5 point favorite. So we'll see how it ends up at the end of the week. But what do you feel like the key is for Baylor to try to get a win on the road in Boulder? And you think the Bears will get it done?
Yeah, I mean, for me, Colorado feels like a tremendous 7-on-7 football team that's still trying to figure out how to be an 11-man football team. They have great wide receivers. I think Shador Sanders is one of the best quarterbacks in the country, probably going to be a top 5, top 10 draft pick, depending on how the NFL draft sets up. I think their secondary is pretty good. Obviously, Travis Hunter, one of the best cornerbacks in the country, a two-way player there. I think Shiloh's out, so maybe that hurts their secondary a little bit. So for me, for Baylor to win this football game, it's just going to come down to doing what Nebraska did and to a little bit what Dakota State did the week before, and that's just kind of bully them in the trenches, right? Like Colorado isn't deep along the defensive line. I don't think the offensive line is all that improved. Their left tackle's a true freshman who's still 18 years old. So this is an opportunity for dave-aranda to get funky. Like he does the weird stuff on defense with the creepers and the simulated pressures. Like go confuse that offensive line, confuse Shador Sanders, get after them. And then offensively, you just got to figure out a way to establish the run. I know that's not going to be Jake Spavital's bread and butter usually, but against this matchup, it just feels like you can let that offensive line lean forward and establish a run game, shorten the game a little bit, and then see what your quarterback's got on top of that.
Zach?
To me, there are two keys to Baylor winning this game, and one is obviously the quarterback. Right now, we don't necessarily know who is starting. Like I would lean Sawyer Robertson would get the nod over Daquan Finn, who was hurt last week, and it's kind of amazing how quickly the Baylor fan base has turned. In favor of Sawyer. People were getting Daquan's name tattooed on them before the season started, and then 2 games into the season, like all of a sudden everybody is on Sawyer, and rightfully so. I mean, he looked
Hey,
awesome
Zach,
against.
fans are fickle.
Well, yes, but like Daquan was the savior, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
all of a sudden, you're right. Fans are fanatics, right?
Hmm.
But I think Sawyer is going to start, right? That would be my guess, and I think he obviously gives them a good chance to win. And Mike said establish the run. They obviously did that with Bryson Washington, and having him back, I think, is going to be huge. And then the second key is the secondary, and Mike mentioned Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders. This is probably the best offense that Baylor has faced this year. And, yeah, the statistics say Baylor's defense is one of the best. But, the passing game, the secondary really hasn't been tested at all this year. And they're going to face a test against Shadur and Travis and all of them, Jimmy Horn, unlike anything they've seen this year. So, and when they were tested, Caden Jenkins got a couple pass interference calls against Utah. So, like, the sample size is small and it's not particularly good. So, I'm curious to see how those couple things um, turn out for Baylor against Colorado.
So what you're telling me is that Colorado has a better passing game than Air Force? Are you kidding? Uh,
I don't like to
yeah.
watch football like I'm in the 1950s, Bryce. We've talked about this
Oh, he
before.
was
That,
he was hating it last week,
oh
Mike.
my gosh.
And I was sitting there talking about the beauty of the blocking, and I guess I was showing my age, but
Although knowing Mike, he probably likes the triple option, right?
Love the triple option.
Oh gosh.
My little brother won a couple state titles at Liberty Hill. We worship the slot T in the Craven household.
nice, nice. Sometimes it's hard to follow the ball.